If you haven't seen our Rags to Riches saga, our friend Beans made enough money to build a decent home in the last episode. So to say that I'm proud of her is an understatement. She's probably not the most likable person in the entire world just because she's evil, she's a kleptomaniac, but she's worked really hard to get this far and I'm really proud of her. So to start out with, I wasn't exactly sure what kind of house I wanted to go for. I tried like a few different layouts before I decided on this one. I actually found this picture somewhere on Google and decided to do like more of a craftsman style home. Budget building's not exactly my forte, so I did struggle with this one for quite a bit. After I finished the outside and then started working on the inside, you kind of see me go around from room to room putting items down in no particular order, just so I don't forget them and then have no money for them in the end. To be honest with you, that's kind of the way that most of my builds are, although sometimes I feel like they're a little bit more organized than this. What I actually should have done is gone outside and placed the items that I knew that I would need outside on the lot so I could use them for later. I didn't really have a vibe for the color scheme on this build either. There was a few different concepts that I wanted to try and they just didn't end up looking good, so I ended up doing like the white and black anyway. A lot of the wood for the windows and the doors and the spandrels, they just don't match. They're not like the exact same color of brown, which is like super irritating. Like I know some of them are from different packs, but even then, like the Sims team should know exactly what kind of swatches that they already have in the game and maybe try to do their best to match them. That's probably one of the reasons I'm super excited about The Sims 5, to be honest. I really want them to bring back the color wheel. I thought that was a really cool concept in The Sims 3. And I think it will allow for more customization and creativity in the game as well too. If you haven't seen my Rags to Riches challenge, we actually started this back in The Sims 1. I wanted to try The Sims 1 Rags to Riches because I heard it was pretty hard. And we failed pretty badly. I don't have The Sims 2 installed on my computer or The Sims 3, so I decided to jump ahead a few chapters and then create our character from The Sims 1 and The Sims 4. It actually started out as her name being Frank Beans, but I decided to go with Franken Beans. Kind of like an ode to the Sims dish Franken Beans, which has like the hot dogs and the beans in it. By the way, that's her favorite food. We've actually retraded Beans a couple times now. I think we started her off as evil, and when I was trying to make friends with Jeffrey Landgrab, no matter what we were doing, he just didn't want to be friends with us. And come to find out, it's actually an issue that a lot of Simmers are having issues with right now. I thought after the last SDX drop that maybe there would be an update push to the game or maybe Sims were a little nicer to each other, but I still seem to be having that problem. After she wasn't getting along with anybody, I decided to retrade her and make her materialistic instead. And then I kept getting the mullet that she had a fear of a dead-end job, so I'm not exactly sure if that was related or not. I actually think that it's another glitch in the game because I have other saves that I'm playing, and all of my other Sims are having the same fears as well too. So they really need to get this one figured out. So if you haven't seen the last episode yet of the Rags to Riches challenge, we retraded Beans again. We kept her aspiration the same, and we took away her materialistic trait and made her a kleptomaniac instead. That was a lot to figure out. Beans has been the first Sim that I've had been a klepto before, and I've never watched any other Let's Plays involving Sims that are kleptos. There's definitely a learning curve with it. I didn't know that you needed a super high level of mischief to be able to steal things that were like more valuable. I initially went to the Goss house and tried to rob them and found out the only thing that I could steal were lamps. Also learned that you can't steal items back to back. There's like a little downtime in between. Typically for cheaper items, it's about 2 hours. But for the more expensive items like busts or statues, it's usually about 4 sim hours or 4 real-time minutes, which can seem like an eternity if you're on a community lot. Even though Beans is now a self-made woman to some extent, I am going to have her keep her job at the catering business. She got promoted to a mixologist in the last episode. She also reported her coworker from stealing money out of the cash register, even though she keeps stealing stuff from work too. Now, granted, it's not money, but she did steal a fish and a pomegranate, and she's been bringing home dirty dishes as well too, from her job. I mean, I knew she was a slob, but this is just getting out of hand. Usually when I feel inspired, it's a lot easier for me to burn through builds like this. Once I saw the picture, I knew that this was the house for Beans. The only issues that I had with this house was furnishing it. I kept deleting and adding items. Ended up changing the rug in the living room to carpet squares instead so it would be cheaper. I went through and changed the wall height to the shortest wall heights because the medium one wasn't really working out for me. It just made the inside look super empty, and I didn't have enough money to purchase enough decor to kind of cover the walls, so everything just looked kind of empty and plain. I just kind of left the bathroom kind of plain as well too, because I was trying to save some money. But I think as we get more money as the episodes go on, obviously we'll add to this, and we'll make that front room on the house an office as well too. That was kind of my idea for that one. I'm also probably going to stop including the landscaping in my builds as well too. For this particular build, even though the house didn't take me that long, the landscaping usually always takes me forever. With this one, since I was on a budget, I had to go through the debug menu, which I feel like takes forever, and I didn't want to have to record all that. So when we actually get into the build, I'll kind of show you what I ended up doing with the landscaping. I did use some debug fencing, which I thought turned out really good. The only issue that I had with it is when I went to go place it, I had one particular fence post in the debug menu that I couldn't find again. I think I probably spent a good 10 to 15 minutes pilfering through the debug catalog to try to find it, because you can't clone debug items. That would be a good one to have. I would love to see that capability in The Sims 5, as well as the capability to be able to build outside of the actual confounds of the lot. I think that would be really awesome to integrate your builds into the worlds that they're in a little bit more. That way it just doesn't kind of look empty, and then you have the other landscaping from the rest of the world outside the lot. Always try to do my best to kind of blend it in, but sometimes I kind of feel like you can always tell. I think one thing that I did struggle with in this build is because I did use the debug menu and I was on a budget restriction. Even though it did take me like an hour to like an hour and 15 minutes to complete, I still felt like that was a long time, just because there were times that I would just sit there and stare at my computer screen and decide on what to delete. So I'd be able to afford something like window coverings. I think we're getting close to the end of the video here, so let's go ahead and jump into the game and check it out. Here she is. I thought it turned out super cute. I did extend the eaves here a little bit just to kind of make it a little bit more dollhouse looking in my opinion. As I mentioned, this is debug fencing, so it comes in as one giant piece, so you don't actually draw it like you do the regular fencing. And then the fence posts are also separate as well too. I don't know what it is about white and black. I just can't stop myself from using it in my builds. Maybe just because it's so easy. I definitely need to challenge myself with that a little bit more. Because we are on the budget, there's nothing in the backyard except for the fencing and a little bit of landscaping on the sides here. There's not much to it since it is a little bit of a smaller house and it didn't cost that much to build. This is the empty room that I'm going to make into the office. Here's the plain, sad looking bathroom in the back. And then you have an open floor plan for the kitchen and the living room. I kind of did a blue and white scheme on the inside. I totally forgot that Beans had her electricity turned off because she's not paying her bills. That's actually intentional. She's plotting against the repo person. So that's why it's so dark in here. Anyway, you have the living room here. This is actually carpet tile instead of a rug. I deleted the rug so I'd have enough money for window treatments. There's just a little dinette table here in the kitchen. Nothing fancy like a big dining room or anything. Then you go upstairs to the bedroom. It's just one big open room up here right now. I do love the color scheme that I have up here. She does have light up here because of this candle. I love these jewel tones and then these light wood colors and then the tan that I did on the wall here. And then the bedroom does lead out to its own balcony out here. And these hanging plants here and then downstairs here are debug. I do love how the side of the yard turned out. I love this purple and white contrast going on here. Everything's so green and lush and beautiful. So it is a starter home under $19,000. You can find it on my gallery as Craftsman Starter Home. Make sure you guys check out the Rags to Riches challenge featuring Beans on my channel. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. I am going to change my upload schedule to just Mondays and Wednesdays for now. You guys have a good week, and we'll see you on the next one.